Hello, Shelby.
Hello, Clayton.
Welcome to space.
Space is very happy to see me.
Uh-huh. You know the crazy thing?
Oh, what?
You've been in space your entire life.
Oh God. It's gonna be this kind of shit all night, isn't it? Breaking my brain. I like my ignorant little brain as it is.
Right?
Just let me live in blissful ignorance.
I think there was maybe it was a Star Trek quote, but somebody says something like he's in space, and he goes, I thought he was on Earth. And then the first person goes, and where do you think Earth is? But I cannot remember the context or the vehicle of that conversation. So we're here in Kerbal Space Program.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to show you the training scenario that I did to learn how to do the docking, because that's the thing that made me learn the most about this. It's the thing I was having the most trouble with, and it's the one thing that I learned the most doing. And it's also the thing we're going to be doing the most of in this save. Quentin's here. Sergio's here.
Yeah, Quentin says, are you
so confident that there's going to be no explosion?
50-50?
Not in the continuity of history, because I will revert. I refuse, because this is my perpetual save. I'm not going to allow anyone to die. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. How are you feeling?
Oh, right, yeah.
Are you back home now in the comfort of your bed?
All right. So, here we are.
So, a little bit of context. I know we've talked about it on like podcasts and stuff, but Clayton has gotten full-fledged back into Kerbal again.
I am neck deep in this.
Not just the Sergio did his as well. Thank you very much for subscribing, Sergio. Steve says, "Welp, I'm home. Shelby, you were right. I like being right, but what the fuck was I right about?" Clayton's not doing sandbox in this. He's doing storyline stuff.
Yes.
Like following it through, which is interesting. And I like it.
Oh, our chat box has a scrolling thing now.
It does.
Whoa, when did that start?
Because there have been bits because Amy scared the shit out of us the other night.
Okay.
The VID?
Vid, yes. Steve's got the vid.
Oh, I did. Oh, is that what the kids call it?
They call it a lot of things. You should look into.
That's third. That's it. That's it. You're done.
You should look into all the shipbuilding stuff in Starfield. It's so up your. I have seen some pretty cool looking ships. I'll tell you that much.
I'm so sorry, Steve.
Yeah, sorry to hear that, pal. So what we're gonna do is rendezvous this ship with another ship that they'll tell us about here in a moment.
And that's what he means by we're docking tonight, because we're gonna dock another ship.
So here's me. Right there. Kerbal Rescuer.
I should get my glasses because that's tiny.
I mean, it's fine. And then here's the path.
It's like you're in space or something.
Because here's the orbit of the thing we're going to rescue.
So tired of me tonight.
Stranded. Right there. This is a stranded game. You'll notice what I was telling you before, that we are on different orbital axes. So
some fancy fucking terminology gonna be coming out tonight because Clayton's been playing enough. So he's gonna have to remember to explain and define what the fuck he's talking about.
But the thing that I like about this game so much is that everything is diagrammed so well. It is so impressive. How they the lines that are drawn and how they word things, how they little pips and everything. So click and set it as your target. So now it has highlighted it and it's given us a little dotted line. This is the moment where our paths overlap, right? 180 degrees away from each other, yeah?
Can you go in a little bit more? Okay. So you don't mean actually overlap. You
Our
just
axes
mean
do. So like
this
my
way
path
they overlap. Okay.
at, let's call it 0 degrees, and his path at 10.1 degrees. This center line is where they overlap.
Okay.
Luckily, we're not like crazy offset, so I'm like up here and he's down here. We're at least like roughly in the same area. I'm just off by slightly over 10 degrees. So, we have to add a maneuver node to line up to get coplanar so that we are on the same plane, roughly. Doesn't have to be exact, just needs to be pretty close. So, we will put... I am 4 minutes away from here, and I'm 28 minutes away from there, so we'll do the closer one first. Steve has gummy spiders.
Oh.
So,
do those gummies have something in them?
Oh, yeah.
Are those some good gummies?
Uh-huh. So, we've got all these little icons, and these are how I can change my orbit, right? So I can grab this and pull it out, and my circle gets bigger. Pull it in, circle gets smaller.
Okay.
I can do, let's do it from this angle. I can...
Like really twinkly
oh, yeah.
sound, music going on
The music, I've heard it for about 125 hours, and I have yet to get tired of it. I can change my orbital, like... There's probably a word for that. Is it highlight? No, it doesn't tell me what it is. But like I can get basically like off center. You see how it swings down and up?
Yeah.
So let's undo all that.
There's just so many lines.
So if I make no adjustments, but all I want to do is change my plane of axis. Just grab this, and you'll see that line tilt the wrong direction. So I'm going the wrong way. I'm now off by 21.1 degrees. So I got to pull this until that goes down to 0, because that means the relative difference between his axis and mine is as little as possible. So use my scroll wheel and bump it up a little bit at a time. Just wait until that says 0.1 or ideally 0.0. If it starts to go up again, I've gone too far. And yeah, I think I've gone too far. So, right here is where my ascending node used to be. What I'm going to do is adjust this so that they are 90 degrees away from where they used to be. That's roughly the halfway point. Even though it doesn't say 0.0, that's without making a bunch of microscopic adjustments, that's close as I can get to the middle point. And like I said, doesn't have to be perfect. But when you eyeball it, that dotted line and that yellow line are right on top of each other. So here on my nav ball, I'm going to click the maneuver node.
God.
And that's going to line me up automatically with the way I need to burn. So here in 1 minute and 28 seconds, I'm going to hit full throttle for 23 seconds. I can do partial.
Burn, baby, burn, burn, burn.
Yes. I can do partial, but the thing is, if you wanted to be absolutely perfect, you would want to deliver this amount of force in one single burst, because that means that all of the movement happens right at this point. That's not how it happens. I'm going to have to burn for 23 seconds. So that means if I start right here, I'm going to be off that mark by the end of my burn. I'm going to be 23 seconds late by the time it finishes. So what I want to do is actually start 11 seconds early so that the midway point is roughly halfway through the burn. So I'm a little bit early, and I'm also a little bit late, so it kind of balances out. So I'm going to wait until that says 11 and a half, or until it says 11, and then I'm going to hit the throttle. And then you'll watch as the blue line turns into the dotted line, how it morphs and becomes it. And then I'm going to have to kill the throttle as close to the end point as possible. So I have to do this all manually. I'm lined
Just
up.
a question: is Jean your current Kerbal?
Jean is my
that the one
control
that's?
man.
Oh,
So we are now full
Jean's
throttle.
back home.
Yeah. You'll see this ring
It
is
seems getting closer.
right, and you'll see my counter here. That's what I have left. When this gets to the bottom, I need to kill my engines or I'll overshoot it. I'm going to try and stop as close to zero as possible, and then make little adjustments until I actually get to zero. So it stopped at 1.6.
Nice, not
So
bad,
I can do
not bad.
little
Blurps.
adjustments with my shift key. Do like partial throttle. So 0.1. That's pretty close. And now,
zoom in. I want to see.
I mean, this is as close as I can get until we actually get
Where's
to the
he
ship.
at?
So he's not even close.
I meant on this one. So where's he there?
He is 2
there.
million.
Okay.
He's 2 million meters, 2,000 kilometers away.
But you're on this right. You're on the same axis. You're just one's in Austin and one's in Houston.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like I'm here, he's over there. So now we need to do something about this. I need to slow myself down so that he can catch up to me, or I need to speed myself up so I can catch up to him.
Isn't that like retro or something? Like
that's exactly what it is. In fact. Oh yeah. What can you do to make yourself yawn? Watch a YouTube video of someone yawning. You'll yawn. Your ears might pop.
Genius. I saw a guy this morning in traffic yawning, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And I started yawning. And I was like, "I hate this, sir. Put your fucking window up. You're making us all yawn."
So one of my favorite things when people like love to tout how brilliant the human race is and all of our technological advances and how much we know about the universe and how advanced we are above every other species. I was like, we still don't know why we yawn. It's a thing that every single person does, and lots of animals do, and we have no idea why. We have never known. We have never gotten any closer to knowing. It is just as much as a mystery as ever. So we are nowhere near.
It's so psychological that you yawn after another person yawns.
Statistically, a number of people that have heard me say the word yawn have needed to yawn now. It is a complete mystery.
Did it work, Steve? We'll keep saying yawn.
Yeah.
Got a yawn yet?
Okay.
See, Jane's excited.
Yeah, he's having a blast. So right now, we're never going to overlap. I'm going to stay on this inner ring. He's going to stay on this outer ring, right? I need to do something to push my orbit out to meet him at some point.
Wait, which ring are you in?
I'm blue. I'm the Kerbal Rescuer. This is Stranded.
Okay.
So I can right-click on those and keep them there. But if you click on too many things, the menu gets kind of cluttered. So I keep it as clean as possible.
Shocking that he does like that.
All right. So generate a transfer orbit, much like you do when you're targeting another celestial body. So the way to do it with the least fuel is at your periapsis, because your lowest point in orbit, and it's also your fastest point. So if you think of like swinging on a swing set, the lowest point is when you have the most speed, and when you get all the way to the top, you come to a complete stop, right? Before you start to swing down again.
Okay.
That's what an apoapsis is. Apoapsis is you getting to the top of your height and then starting to come back down to your periapsis. So this is like you at the top of the swing set, and this is you at the bottom of the swing set. So you build up all this speed and shoot yourself out back up to the periapsis again.
I like how he's giving this in very simple understandings. You know,
how I had to learn it.
And it's like, yes, okay, I'm here
it's how I
this.
have to visualize this stuff to keep it all in my head, because I don't have this is a video game to me, but I have to like understand the science as a layman. Hey Tim. All right, so the way to do it with the least amount of fuel would be to do it at the periapsis, but that's almost 180 degrees from where I am.
Can't you just like time travel?
I could, but also.
But are you going to be using fuel that entire time?
No, I'm not. I'm just floating. I'm at 0 throttle and 0. Well, now I'm at 0. But there's no guarantee that if I burn here, because any changes you make, the effects happen 180 degrees. So if I hit the gas here, watch what happens. Nothing on this side changes.
But it will expand on the other side.
Yes, it will shoot me out the other side, because that's where all that energy is being released. So if I change
Which we
it here,
do want to do that, right? Because we want to swing out into his orbit.
right? But I could just as well do it there and swing out here. It's all a matter of where he's going to be when I get there, and that's where this gets super complicated. So we'll just do it here at a random point, and you'll start to see the overlap markers. So if I go here, that intersection is 1.6 megameters away. That is 1.6 million meters. That's not even close. So what we got to do, as I change, remember how I said I get going faster and faster as I get closer to my periapsis?
Mm-hmm.
The point at which I make these changes, I'll actually get closer to him because I'm building up more speed, which means I'm catching up to him. See what I mean? See how close those arrows are on when I do it from here? And then, so that's actually a dual intersection. So if I do it over here, 1.6 million meters away. If I do it here, the same amount of fuel. I'm using no more fuel than I was on this side. It's just a matter that I'm already picking up speed by doing it here. 1.5 thousand kilometers. Yep. So doing it here gets me two separate intersections. One, let's see if I can zoom in. One as I'm passing out of that orbit, and one as I'm coming back in. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually overshooting it ever so slightly, and then coming back in. And one of them you're bound to be closer than the other, so you just kind of pick whichever one's closer and stick with that. So 5 kilometers. That's pretty close. Now we can fudge that a little bit by messing with my throttle. So I can see how that 4.9 down in the bottom left is coming down.
No. Oh, yes.
4.7, 4.6. So I'm trying to make these tiny adjustments to get that number as low as possible. And now I'm overshooting it, so it's starting to go up again. So 4.6. 4.6 is about as good as it gets. So that's still really close. There's also another adjustment I can make to maybe get that number down some. So that goes 31, 21. I'm also making pretty big adjustments there. So let's see. 3.7, 3.5, 3.2.
Oh, there you go.
2 kilometers. What? Nope, 1.7 I saw there. So 1.7. And now, because I've messed with that, maybe I can get some better numbers by messing with this. That's going up. That's going up again. It's slowly coming down. No, let's go back, going back up. So what you're doing is you're just messing with things a little bit at a time, trying to get those numbers as close as possible from what? 2 million meters away. Like I'm trying to plan to make these adjustments in 14 minutes that are going to, if I do them correctly, get me within 2 kilometers of this thing in what would be something like 30 minutes from now. So like everything is you making adjustments to try to make plans to be somewhere in the future.
At the same time that he's
depending
near it.
Right, and depending on how close I can get this to a perfect burn, it depends how close I'm going to get. It's not going to be perfect. I'll probably get down to 0.1, which is going to put me off by like positive or negative 1.7. So like a lot of it is just getting as close as you can and then adjusting from there. So we're going to align with maneuver. So now I'm pointed where I need to be, even though I'm not even there, because that direction is exactly the same whether I'm here or whether I'm there. So now that I'm there, fast forward myself over to there. That'll put me about a minute away. So go ahead and get us a little bit closer. Now the burn time is 18 seconds. So just like before, I'm going to start at 9 and go from -9 to +9. And then you'll see this blue thing stretch out to meet the dotted lines. And it can get really distracting because things will change in the, like, there might be something that happens in the midpoint. You'll see all kinds of crazy lines, and you have to ignore them until you actually get to the thing that is part of the plan. All right.
Oh.
I got snake eyes. So, if I leave this alone, let me turn off my sass. So I'm gonna be at 1.9. So I'm a little farther away than the 1.7 we originally shot for, but hey, 1.9 ain't bad. So he's happy with that. Execute the Kerbal maneuver. We've already done that. You're in a trajectory that will get you very close to your target. If you think you can get even closer, I suggest fine-tuning the encounter using your RCS. No, I'm fine with. So what he wants to do is warp until we are 15 kilometers away. Now, relative relative to my target, I am going 2,000 or 2 kilometers per second. That means
Oh God.
relative. I am going 2,300 meters per second. He's going 1,600 meters per second.
So you need to slow the fuck down.
And we're also traveling in different directions. So as we get closer up here, that number will get down because right now I'm going this way and he's going this way. So we're like not even on the same vector. But as we get closer to each other, as we're both pointing this direction, this number will get inherently smaller. But it's still going to be way too close for me to do any sort of maneuver. So it's not, we're not, if we were flying directly at each other, it would be like 4.5, but because we're kind of headed in the same direction, there's mountains of mathematics rather than just like this number plus this number. So let's switch this back to orbit because that's what I need. Then I'm just going to pick a place over here and see where that gets us. Because right now our distance is 1 megameter, 8, 7, 600,000, 500,000. I want to get to 15 kilometers. So that's not even close. So let's bump it up some more. And now that we're traveling in roughly the same direction, let's check our relative speed. Now I'm only going 340 meters per second relative. So I'm just going to do the time myself until this distance gets from 200,000 down to 15 kilometers. And then I need to drop my relative speed down to, what does it say? 50 meters per second. Sometimes this can take a while, but I don't want to super speed it and overshoot it. All right, 30.
Look at them. They're getting closer.
17, 16, 15. All right, so we're below 15. Now I need to...
And you're still going, just so you know.
Now I'm going 754. So I have picked up, because I'm on the downswing, I'm picking up speed. So I need to slow myself down like crazy. So we're going to point retrograde, and that will automatically jump to that. Then I'm going to hit the throttle until this comes down to 50.
You're still getting closer and closer.
Yeah. And this is going to change our interception thing. All these numbers are going to go crazy as our speed values are changing. And that's what I mean, how like a lot of stuff changes while you're hitting the throttle and you kind of have to ignore it. You have to go, nope, stick to the plan. Stop what you're doing.
Trust the plan.
Exactly. So it's actually going faster than I am now, so I might actually have to catch up to it. No, okay. So we're still going to stick to the plan. Got to stick to the plan. I'm actually going to take us down to 0. Let's see, I need to catch up to it. So I need to... I think I was in the wrong mode.
Oh dear. He's getting further and further away.
Yep.
We've missed our chance to rescue the man. Kerbal. The Kerbal.
Hey, why did that get so wild? Why did my numbers get so far off? I must have been in the wrong mode. But I was in orbit mode and not target mode. Either way, this is closer to how I originally learned it. All right, and I'm out of fuel. So that scenario is over. So we're going to do it again. I'm going to do it right this time. But now that I don't have to explain it so much, maybe I'll be able to think about it more. So go to the map. First, we need to get our info locked in. We're going to set a target, set a plan for the ascending node. Go the wrong direction first time. I need to like that. Oh, I had below there for a second.
You did.
Oh. Okay. 0.0. Very good. Go to the maneuver. Fast forward it. 23-second burn. A little bit late. That's okay.
Every time you do this, is it a little different? Like, do they give you a new version, or is it the same exact scenario?
No, the scenario is the same. What changes is you. It is impossible that you will do the exact same thing every single time. And those little variations are what cause the differences. And sometimes you'll get lucky enough to land on like a perfect burn, or you'll get a good, like I overshot that a little bit. So it went to 0 and then went back up to 0.1. But that's not that big of a deal. All right, so let's make another maneuver. Go out to meet him. Messages in the way. Very good. Let's see here. What can I do here?
So I made Clay go see a K-drama or K-movie with me.
Oh, right. I remember that.
And it was in space.
Uh-huh.
And he thoroughly did enjoy it. But that's all I can think of every time as you're playing this game. I'm just thinking of the little drone that he had named Maru that was so adorable. Yeah. I just think of Maru every time you play this.
What does it say? It's 1 megameter. It's not. Point 3, 3, 2, 3, 1. Oh, had a 2.7 there for a second. Okay, so we'll work with that. We'll bump it along. Nope, it's getting higher. And it's getting higher as well. Okay, so we are roughly in the same situation we were last time. So I'm going to point to the maneuver. And then warp to it for my 18-second burn. Oh, I see what. Yeah, because it's estimating on my current position, not my projected position.
How many songs do you think they got in this rotation in this game?
It's not very many, but they're all great. They're all phenomenal. I think I can only think of maybe like 7 or 8. It's the Rebel Galaxy thing. Like, they're all incredible songs, but there's not that many of them. Nailed that. So we're at... I don't know why this still says 1 megameter. Oh, because I'm looking at the freaking orbit. 2.7 kilometers. That's fine. I can work with that. Okay, we've done that. We've done that. Now we need to do this 50 meter per second thing. If I remember right, it was not this far back, so I'm going to warp here. I'm going to make sure I'm on the right mode this time. So I'm going to go ahead and set that now. Set to target, set retrograde. Yeah, it even tells me, make sure the nav ball's in target mode. And I did not. So we will zoom this in to 15 kilometers. Actually slower this time, so I'll have to burn less to bring us into relative speed. All right, 15. I'll burn that down, and that pushes that out. Once this gets to 50 milliseconds, or 50 meters per second. There we go. Now I can move to the next step. So that changes our, because I'm affecting my speed and my relative speed, that changes our rendezvous point. So now the closest we can get is 5.3 kilometers. Because I've slowed myself down, I'm now not able to slingshot myself out to this distance. I'm 3 kilometers farther away than I used to be. So what I can do is, instead of adjusting myself to the planet, I can adjust myself to the other vehicle. So what I can do is point at the target, which is slightly different than my current heading. So what I want to do is get this icon here right on top of this pink icon, because that means my momentum is carrying me not off center of that object, it's carrying me directly towards it at 50 meters per second. See what I mean?
Kinda, yeah.
So I'm going to overshoot this to the other side as a way of changing my momentum. So it doesn't take much. So I'm going to hit little bursts. And you'll see that icon is slowly starting to overlap the pink, right?
The little one that's moving around?
Yeah, the yellow one.
Yeah.
Is starting to overlap the pink one. You'll see down here in the corner.
Oh, what happened?
Our intersection is changing from 9 kilometers. It's actually going down because I'm hitting the gas and bringing my trajectory or my momentum pointing directly at the target. I'm now coming down from 9 kilometers per second.
Mm-hmm.
But I also don't want to pick up too much crazy speed, because at some point I need to slow this thing down before
I was going to say, you're above 50 now. Yeah,
it's okay. So 4 is fine. Let's go ahead and point retrograde so that I can slow myself down at the intersection point. So we'll take this in chunks. So I'm going to get a little bit closer, maybe about 20 seconds away. Then I'm going to slow myself down so I don't overshoot, because that's basically what's going to happen. Once I'm at 30 seconds, once in 30 seconds, I'm going to be moving away from the closest point. So I want to slow myself down so that it pushes that away. gonna wait until I get as close to 0 as possible, but by doing that, I'm also like chancing that I'll overshoot it. Doing little bumps of full throttle here to chip away at it the most, and then I'll use partial throttle as a final tune to get me into what I would consider like relative like same speed. 0.1 meters per second is basically the same speed. So now our orbits are really, really, really close around this planet. At here, I'm gonna be 10 kilometers away, which on a galactic scale is basically on top of it. So that's still not close enough for a rendezvous. So we need to push to the target again. So pick up some speed. My intersect.
Why does space got to be so damn big?
Hey, because there's a lot of stuff, and there needs to be a place to put it all. So I have actually overshot now. So I need to... Oh, 34 meters. That ain't bad. I might be able to work with that. I'm gonna try and get a little closer to that.
Can you see each other yet, or is it still too far away?
We are currently 4 kilometers away from each other. So yeah, no, it's not on screen just yet. So my throttle is actually taking me farther away, so I don't want to do that. So I'll leave it as is, switch to retrograde, wait for about 3 minutes. And so a weird thing is going to happen. When I hit the time skip button, all these numbers are going to go wild because there's a different calculation that happens in time warp than the one that happens in real time. And I don't know why. I don't see how it says like it goes from 3 minutes away to an hour and 48 minutes away. Yeah. I don't know why. I have no idea why that happens. All I know is that this spot right here stays the same. The other icon moves, but I can still use that as my measurement point. That's the thing I need to make adjustments for before I get there. I'm going to wait until I'm pretty close and then kill the time warp so we don't have to wait for another 53 seconds. All right. I'm only going 18.5 meters per second.
So that's slow.
Pretty slow. An easy adjustment to make. And we should actually be able to see it now.
Oh, yeah. There it is.
Uh-huh.
Are we coming at each other?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're coming close, like, pretty quick to each other now.
So, we are at 0.0. We are exactly the same speed right now. In a minute or so, that's going to tick up to, like, 0.1, just because this distance and our mass and a million other factors are going to cause us to be traveling different speeds here in a moment. But this is close enough that I can make micro adjustments with my ship. Okay. Point your ship towards the target and thrust using your RCS. So RCS is like a smaller jet system. It's not these big nozzles on the back. So I'm going to enable that. And then... So 3 meters. Okay. Right click and open shield. That's already there. And then I want to control from here, I think is. Yes, control from here.
Can this other ship not turn itself at all?
No, there is no power to this thing.
Okay.
Okay, so I need to slow myself down so that I can get myself righted. There we go. So now the top of my ship is where I'm actually controlling from. So when I press left, we actually go to the left. And then I'm not looking at the bottom of my ship and pushing myself the wrong direction.
Gotcha. Okay. Good point. How close do you have to get?
It's the wrong one. So I want to swing down and to the right. See, it's making these automatic adjustments to keep me pointed at it because I told it where to aim at. So I need to get my... Oh, am I going the wrong? I'm going the wrong way. Yep. Just slow down my rotation that way. Come back up. And this is like the most stressful part, is actually getting two things to line up in space.
That's what I was like. How close does it have to be, or will it auto just connect?
It will get pretty close.
I see auto strut disabled. I don't know what that is.
Okay, I need that to line up right on top of it. Okay, now I am moving directly at this thing at 0.2 meters per second. So I can just use the gas and speed up. And that's a lot of what the most stressful stuff is like getting yourself lined up properly. So I'm actually going to go up a little bit. Zoom in so I can see better. And I feel like I'm about the right height. Cancel out that movement. Maintain the forward movement. You see we're slowly approaching.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to hit
He's
the brakes.
bigger than you.
Yeah. Slow it down. Make a little adjustment
This
over
doesn't
here.
seem possible in real life.
Uh-huh.
But we fucking do it.
Oh, yeah. And they will magnetize when I get close. And there we go.
There you go. Oh, you picked up two people, Bob and Bill.
Yep.
I hope you have space for Bob and Bill. Do you have three-seater?
I don't know. Okay, no. So this is me in my craft. And that's only me. And they're over in this one. It's Bob and Bill and Valentina on my side. So that is docking. Wasn't that fun?
That was stressful.
Yeah.
And a lot of shit. I bet it took forever to learn about.
It did. I ran through that scenario at least 24 times before I fully understood what it was I was trying to do.
Don't end it. You might as well get the credit. Okay.
That's it. That's all there is to do. So now we're going to go to my save, to where I have been playing for 122 days.
How many hours do you have in game?
In this save, I don't know.
No, in the game.
In this game, about 126 hours.
Okay.
So, here's my tech tree. Here's the things that I've unlocked. I did unlock the nuclear engines. I don't have enough science to unlock anything else at the moment. And I don't have enough money to upgrade any other buildings at the moment. However, I've got the important stuff. I've got what I need. So I'll show you some of the ships that I've built. Some more ridiculous than others.
Doesn't surprise me.
So I've got Munworthy. which is a single-seater. This is my super expensive one that I built.
Just because you could.
After I unlocked all the parts, I basically put everything in this lander pod up here because that's what actually will make it to the surface. Let's see. Is it there? So this is the only thing that's left to actually land on the Mun. And I got those big old feet. And then that has enough fuel to get me back. And then there's a heat shield there. So all this stuff gets dropped, and then the heat shield is for re-entry. So, that is my single-seater for the Mun. Then, I had to make a specific craft for orbital rescues, which is basically the thing we just did. So, it is a much simpler design. And I used to have a bigger cockpit up here that held 3 people, but I would only send up 1 and have 2 empty seats to bring back the other ones. But I unlocked this thing, which is a fly-by-wire, which means the person in the seat doesn't do anything. So I can pilot this thing empty. Or no, was that it? No, I sent up an engineer because I had to make repairs. So I sent someone who was not as good of a pilot, but with this module, it made them better than my best pilot. So this allowed me to send up and do complicated maneuvers with someone without the training to do it. And then I've got my nuclear engine there, which is fun. And then just a big old rocket to get me off the ground. The other ones that I've built, so actually around the space center here are different biomes. And what I had to do was travel to each of these biomes and do scientific experiments to get science as my career started. So I had to build a vehicle to visit these different biomes. And I will show you the vehicle that I did to do just that. This is my plane.
Oh, right. Of course. You have a plane.
It is a jet engine with some wheels and a Science Junior and a collector.
Got no wings. There's no wings.
It doesn't fly. It's not a good plane, but it's a plane. Stuff doesn't matter anymore. And then it has some other things for other experiments to do on the road. So I'll show you how that works. So I'd basically just put somebody in it. It would start on the runway. And I would start here. I would do my experiments right here. And then get whatever science is from that. And then do this one. Get whatever science is from that. And then do this. And this. And then, so these two can only be run once. So what I would have to do is hit the brakes, get out of the cockpit, and then reset them by hand.
Oh, that sucks.
And you can only do that with an engineer. So the trade-off is that you get better returns with a scientist, but the ones that are only one run, you can't reset them, which means you would have to do your tests and then get back in and then collect the plane to collect the science. Otherwise, with an engineer, you could do your tests, hit the throttle. Oh, take the brake off.
I was like, we ain't going anywhere.
Full throttle. And because it's not really meant to be driven on the ground, it can be a bit wily. But once it gets moving, it's okay. And then, basically, I would drive it to these other places, do the same 4 or 5 experiments, as well as a crew report and an EVA report. So I'm actually riding on the side of it as it moves, and then you get back in and then just keep it rolling. And so once I cross into this grass, I will be in a different biome. So,
is there any indicator on the screen when you've entered a new biome?
Not on screen, but if I do a crew report, it'll say crew report from SPH, which is Space Plane Hangar. So if I hit the gas, turn around and go back to the runway, you'll see crew report from runway. And that'll let me know I'm doing something in a different area. So like, here's the SPH, there's mission control, I think is that one.
Does this make you want to go visit the NASA center here again?
I was going to say, I've already been once.
Never can do anything twice.
So, crew report run from runway. So, that lets me know I'm running a report that I haven't run before. And I've done all these, that's why all the science is worth nothing. And then I'll show you how I know what I've done and what I haven't. And this is when this game split open for me, because I was like, oh god, it has reporting. So this,
he liked data.
This is all my science that I've run thus far. And most of it is on Kerbal, which is the planet that we're on right now. Some of it is from the Mun. So like near space or in space near the Mun, in high space over the Mun. This is on Kerbal, it's in space near is below 70,000 meters. And then in space high over Kerbal is between 70 and 250 kilometers. So, and then you've got the different biomes. So like Astronaut Complex is a biome, Crawler Way, but then you actually get out onto the planet and you've got proper biomes, grasslands, highlands, northern ice shelf, southern ice shelf, and then over the seas and on the shores, that kind of thing. I don't know why there are two shores, but there is. I don't know how to differentiate between the two, but I've gotten all of both of them, so I'm happy about that. And then so we've got like flying low. And then let's do material study. So I can filter them down to see what, when I unlock a new part, what ones do I need to still do. And then I've only been on Kerbal and the Mun. So I have all these different celestial bodies to do all these same experiments on all the biomes that exist on those bodies. So there is quite the gauntlet laid out before me.
That's what I want to know. When are you going to the next planet out?
I mean, I can show you what it is still difficult enough for me to get to the Mun. Like, it's still not a guarantee that I'll get there, even the dozens of times that I've been there. Each time is like, I might screw it up. I might miscalculate. Who knows? So let's do this. Let's go with Munworthy.
But don't you have, you have a nuclear engine now, so you should be able to handle the distance.
I should, yes. But sometimes I screw it up. That's just how it goes. Sometimes I miscalculate. Sometimes I make plans and don't hit the button right, or I have an idea and it doesn't quite work out. So the other thing I have is these. So I have like a bunch of Kerbonauts, and these three are the ones you start with. All these other ones these four are the ones you start with. All these other ones are ones that I've rescued by doing those docking missions. So I've gotten pretty good at that, but I still screw that every once in a while, as you've seen. So since we're going to do some science from the Mun, I'm going to send up my 1-star scientist, which is Murad. There we go. I still haven't done any rendezvous missions, so I haven't done any docking with Murad, but maybe I'll do some docking with Murad someday.
Ha, ha, ha.
Okay, so she's a 1-star, which means she gets 105% science return over pilot, who has no modifiers on science return. And since the whole point of us going there is for science, she's our best bet. If I had any 2-stars for science, I'd be sending them. But Murad's
And do you like send them to school or something to get better?
There is a way of doing that. There is a module that you can put on your ship that will transfer science into experience. Typically, the only way to get experience is by going out flying and then being recovered. So, like, that's what the moment you're recovered is the actual moment you get experience, not just by being out there. You have to come back in order to basically cash in the experience. So, jewelry, 105, 35. Yeah, so all the same numbers. And none of these, like, all these experiences are still at 0%, those little bars. Bob has some experience, but he's a 0-star, so he's not going to get me the 105. He's only going to get 100%. So maybe in the future I'll have a passenger seat, and he can go along with it, so I can get both. He can get some experience, but I want her to run the experiments. He's just basically there for
moral support.
For power leveling, yeah. Okay, and since we've got our fly-by-wire, I can do all of the fancy maneuvers without needing a pilot. So that's the thing that I like about that. So let's go to the mun. Let's try to go to the mun. Let's see if we can get to the mun.
I'm confident in your ability to get to the mun.
This let me do my final checks here, because I was messing around with a lot of things and I can't remember where I left stuff off. So this has no monopropellant because I don't use it. That has fuel and ox. That has fuel but no ox. So that's not going to work because I had this set up for nuclear. Because this rocket needs fuel and oxidizer. But the fuel that's coming to it does not have any oxidizer because I turned it off. And you'll notice I'm at 5.2 tons. As I put oxidizer in this, it makes my craft heavier.
Mm-hmm.
So it does change my values here. So I have 647 meters per second of delta V, and that's your fuel budget. It's the language of the game for your fuel budget. So let's see here. Get out of there. On the mun, which is where I'm going to be when this is in use, I've got 2626. But if I were to take away all my oxidizer, it goes to nothing because this rocket don't work without oxidizer. But nuclear engines do. So if I put a nuke on here, I've got 2086, which is less than I had with this one with oxidizer. And what's our weight? We're at 7.7 with this one. And we'll put the ox back in here. And we're at 7.4. So we're actually lighter with this. Was that the poodle? The terrier. Terrier engine. And I have more delta V to spend. So theoretically, this engine is better. Also, I'm going to need a smaller engine because these feet won't fit around the nuke. They are that nuclear engine is enormous, and my feet don't reach the ground.
They don't have extended feet?
They might. I think I've unlocked the biggest ones for a while. There might be another tier of landing gear, but it would be another thing where I need to build a structure around it, like a housing outside the engine so that the feet can reach the ground. But this is a simple enough design. I just need to put my ox back in there. Okay, so we got ox. I've got 2626 coming back from, or Well, it's 26 coming back. I don't know how much I'm going to have by the time I get there. So we'll see. We'll see how close I can get it. I've got 31.25 to get me there. That's going to be pushing it, but we'll see what I can do. Let's save this, check our crew, Marad, and go. So
let's take off this bitch.
Let's light this candle. So we're going to turn all our stabilizer, gonna hit full throttle, and kick it. So I'm going to start what's called a gravity turn here pretty soon, where I'm actually going to start leaning. I'm pressing the wrong button. Leaning the ship, trying to get it pointed in, what is that, east? Yes, east. Because I don't want to fly straight up. That's not going to get me into an orbit. I need to actually be pushing myself into a ring around the planet. And this is how you do that. Then I need to kill it because right now my apoapsis is 90 kilometers. Now I'm still in atmosphere, so it's slowing me down as I go. So this number is going to come down. But as long as it's above 70 kilometers, we're perfectly fine. I've still got a fair bit of fuel. I haven't burned too much. And then you'll hear the twinkling music kick in at 70,000 or 70 kilometers as well. For ourselves until we're about 25 seconds away. So if I look at it here, this is where we're going to reach, and then we're going to start to come back down. So once we get near this apoapsis, I need to hit the throttle again to stretch out this this line so that we don't crash.
I was going to say, because right now the line takes you right back into Earth.
Right, because I've killed the throttle, and if I don't do something, we're just going to come back down. Wait to the horizon a little bit more. There we go. That should be pretty good. Speed it up a little bit. We're about 25 seconds away. That's when I wait to do it. And then while we're burning, I'm actually going to go back to the map and show you as it changes. So that ring is starting to stretch out.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm also building my speed.
You are using so much fluid. I don't know. Fuel, I don't think you're going to have enough to get to the moon.
Oh, no, it's going to cut out. But I'll drop that. And we'll hit that one. And yes, this is a much weaker engine. But that's okay. Like, it's a pretty efficient engine. It's not very strong, but as long as I don't lose much speed and then have to reaccelerate again, that's where a bunch of waste is going to come in. So as long as I don't screw something up and have to hit the brakes and then hit the gas again because there are no brakes. It's just throttle in the opposite direction. So I'm going to get myself up to the apoapsis and then align with prograde and throttle some more. And now, so right now we're in negative numbers, which means I'm going to hit the planet if I don't do something. Once I get this to positive numbers, I want it to be positive 70,000. And once it goes to positive, it's going to start jumping really fast.
Where is the moon?
I can't show you. I need to watch that number.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so apoapsis 104, periapsis 73. We are in orbit. It's not a circular orbit, but it'll do. I'm not going to crash. Our target is the moon, right here.
Gotcha, okay.
And same as before, there's that dotted line that shows me where our orbits overlap. Because, try as I might, we are not in a perfect balance. I'm off by 0.3 degrees. Pretty close, and it's within reason. I could try to fix it if I wanted to, but changing your axis burns a lot of fuel, and that's not enough to put me out of what's it called? Out of rendezvous range because there's an invisible ring around the Mun that is going to pull me into orbit. It's called the sphere of influence. So I don't 0.3 degrees is not even close to being out of range of that sphere of influence by the time I get out there. So, same as before, I'm trying to use as little fuel as possible. And remember how I said you're going the fastest already. It's free energy if you do it at periapsis. If I do it at apoapsis, I'm at my slowest, which means I'm going to use the most fuel to get out to that distance. So what I want to do is use the slingshot and use the speed that I have built up already as basically free energy. Let's take these back to 0. Because I think I clicked on something. There we go. So I'm going to pull this out at periapsis. And I'm only using 781 delta V to get that far. Now, that is probably close enough. But when I get there, who's to say where the Mun gonna be? Actually, if we do it, yeah, it is off by. Can't even. Yeah, it's not even close enough to give me an estimate. So, what we'll do is grab this and swing it around. And at some point, you'll see the line go crazy because that means I am in a place where the Mun is going to pick me up. Somewhere around here. Really? Nothing? All right, fine. Where is it? It's probably somewhere over here. So let's go here and add a little more fuel to it. Ah, there we go. Now those dots are coming closer.
We get closer together, yeah.
So we're at 2.5 kilometers, which is not enough for it to pick up. But it is getting pretty close. There we go. So it just ticked over to the sphere of influence. That's where I'm going to hitch a ride on the gravitational pull of the Mun. So that's still cutting it a little bit close because if I mess that up at all, I'm going to miss it. Mm-hmm. So I want to add a little extra fuel just to give me some wiggle room, right?
Yeah.
You falling asleep over there?
No, I'm okay.
If you had said yes, I was like, good. Means I'm explaining it correctly. So that's our plan. Point to the maneuver. It's actually pretty close. I'll be there in a minute. So, and that's at periapsis. So we're not burning too much extra fuel. I'm gonna get that as close to periapsis as possible.
So the fuel that you currently have in little green, is that all the fuel that you have left?
Every bit of fuel that I have to get there and back.
That's what I was trying to ask.
I've got 2,300 delta V. This is going to burn 830 of that. So I got to be pretty efficient when I get there. And who knows? Maybe I just won't have the fuel to get back. So I'll revert and redesign.
Abandon some Kerbal.
Yeah. I actually did do that. I had to go because of something. I landed in a very exact spot. And I was like, oh, I don't want to lose all this science. So. What is that?
Excuses. He just abandoned them.
All right, so now we've started our 1 minute and 23 second burn, which will push us out to. What's that? Can't see my app. Oh. 10,000 kilometers, 10 million meters away from Kerbal. And realistically, I should be using bigger engines for this, but I was on a pretty strict budget when I built this ship, so I didn't have these things unlocked. If I could redesign the ship, I could probably do this much, much easier now that I have bought my way out of the constraints. But it's fun to try to see what you can do on the cheap and still get away with it.
Yeah. But cheap. definition science cheap.
Yeah, like government funding cheap, which is still billions of dollars.
I was gonna say, yeah.
All right, about 15 seconds left in the burn. I'm going to kill it and do my manual adjustments here. The other challenge is that I don't touch type, so I'm constantly checking to make sure my fingers are on the right key. Because if I press the wrong one, it could absolutely ruin everything. All right, so I am dialed in. I don't know why that's flashing like that. So at our current trajectory, right about here is where I'm going to encounter the moon. And if I do nothing from here to there, the moon's going to leave me. So I need to do something here to stay in its sphere of influence. So let's go here. I'm going to warp there. I think it's done it again. Yeah, like it's giving me a weird calculation because I'm not even close to that. So I need to do another loop, but that's okay. It's like, yeah, it's way over there. Okay, there. Now, on the next time around, the mun should be here-ish. Then it'll pick me up. So I'm going to warp and do a full loop. There we go. It was one rotation too early. So we will warp past the point, and you'll see all of my periapsis and apoapsis lines switch over to be centered on the mun. So now I have an apoapsis for Kerbal over here, and a periapsis for the mun over here.
Oh, interesting.
So what I want to do is act on my position relative to the mun. So I want to slow myself down relative to the mun so that it can pull me into a ring around it.
Into its orbit.
Right. So I've got 1,500 delta V. This is going to burn about 150 of it, about 10% of what I've got. So it's kind of looking like I don't have enough fuel to get home, but that's all right.
He's abandoned.
Maybe if I do this just right, I can get crazy lucky and just shoot myself off the planet and land it. I've done it before, but I would not call it something to expect. All right, so 6 seconds. Start our 13-second burn. See those lines going crazy? That's the hardest thing to ignore. Because it makes you feel like something's gone horribly wrong and you want to kill the throttle, but you have to like ignore that and say, nope, stay on the throttle until you get to 0.0. Or 0.2 in this instance. So I'm at periapsis 1.2, apoapsis 1.6. That's off by 400 kilometers. So not too bad. So what I want to do is take my apoapsis and create a maneuver so that I'm at my lowest point, even lower than I currently am. So I'm going to use my highest point to influence my lowest point. Because
are you trying to get into the white circle that's around the mun?
That's another thing. That's a satellite. That's the thing that I had to fix last time.
Gotcha.
Which I spent so much fuel getting to that freaking thing because it's on such a wild axis. So we are at 293. I want that to be about 10 kilometers. So we'll be like skating across the surface. There we go. 10-2. Good. So let's line up with our maneuver. Get over to our point. Skip a little bit farther so I don't have to wait as long. And then, when we're at 3 seconds, I'm going to start my 7-second burn.
Now, there's already, it looks like a capsule floating around the moon.
There is.
What the fuck is that?
That is another rescue mission I have to do.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Because I've picked up so many missions, there are a lot of icons floating around different places. All right, so at the highest point, I am at 1.6. My lowest point, I am 10.5 kilometers off the surface of this freaking planet. So let's get it circular at around 10 kilometers, if we can. What am I at? 70. So we can pull that down. Oh, too far. So again, I'm trying to get these to where they are about 90 degrees away from the... Let's center that. 90 degrees away from the beacon, because that means I'm roughly halfway. So
Are you going to try to land?
I'm going to try, yeah. So we're at 12 and 8. Let's see if we can... I'm okay with 8. That's fine. It's not too bad. Okay, so let's point to our maneuver. And what why are you doing that?
You're just circling.
I know, I didn't want it to do that. I wanted it to... Why did it not lock on to the thing? Why does it say I'm 2 hours away from it? What has happened to this maneuver? All right, I'm gonna kill that and
Restart.
try it again. 30. Okay. This says I'm 2 hours away. So what happens if I... Why does it keep overshooting it? I don't... Oh. I'm looking at the wrong freaking thing. Yeah. I don't know. Why did it center on that? Hold on. All right.
Hold the phone.
Okay. I see. All right. Somehow I've gotten my camera fixated on that thing instead of being on my ship. There we go. Focus the moon. There we go. That's much better. Four, 3, 2, 1, stop. Okay, so we're at 8 and 14, which is fine. Now we zoom in on our craft. We are floating backwards over the moon.
Very close to this pile of cheese.
Uh-huh.
It's a very cratery pile of cheese.
I want to lock my camera. So right now my cockpit is upside down. So I want to swing that around so that I can look down and my adjustments are the correct direction. Kind of like I said earlier. So we're going to extend feetsies. And a lot of people make maneuvers for landing. I just kind of gun it and hope for the best. I want to wait until we're past that because I want to land kind of over in that area. Landing inside craters is a nightmare. Landing on the Mun is a nightmare anyways because nothing is smooth.
Landing on a fucking other planet.
Nothing is smooth. As smooth as this thing looks, there's just dents in it all over the place. All right, so let's hit the gas right about now. So we are burning retrograde, which is literally wasting gas to slow myself down because I'm just going to have to speed myself up later to get off this thing. But you can't land at 500 meters per second. Not and walk away from it. All right, so now we're starting to pitch down. And let's see, we are at 3 kilometers, 200 meters per second. So let's start to settle this thing down. Okay, I don't like this camera angle. There we go. All right, 700 meters. Starting to pull our speed down. So I'm watching how fast I'm descending and also how fast my speed is changing. Because I want to slow down, but I don't want to slow down too early. How's it going, Brian?
Yeah. Don't think we're making it home.
All right.
You just want to tap it.
And I've got 345 meters per second of delta V to get from here back to Kerbal all the way over there. That ain't enough.
I said we're not.
I'm here to tell you that ain't enough.
We've abandoned Murad.
That's okay. However, we can do some things while we're here. We can do some material study. She's going to get me 100 science.
Ooh.
For that. We can do... I think I've got some more instruments in here. Yes. I can do mystery goo. 40 more science. I can do a barometer. 48 more science. I can do a temperature. 32 more science. I can do a crew report. 20 science. 20 science. I can do an EVA report. 32 more science. I can do a surface sample. 120 frickin' science for a surface sample.
You may actually want to bring another thing home.
That's usually how it goes. I get here and I land a place I've never been and I go, I got 500 frickin' science riding on this thing. I gotta go back and get it. Because what I could probably do is get this thing into an orbit with 300. I might be able to make that happen. It'll be a super low orbit, but if I could get this craft into an orbit, I wouldn't actually have to land another thing to meet up with it. Because, strangely enough, it is easier for me to rendezvous in orbit than it is to try to park another craft anywhere close to this one. There's no way I'm going to get that right. That is a galactic game of darts, and I'm just not that good. So So what I may try to do is get this thing back into orbit, or try to get another thing orbiting the planet that I can then try to rendezvous with this one. So I can try to hit this with another one, or try to hit another one with this one. I haven't really made up my mind because this is all happening in real time. But what I'm gonna do is transfer all the science into this one bucket. And then let's see what we end up with. So we've got 120, 140, 170, 200, 240, 340, 372 science is riding on this. So that's that could get me a lot.
That could.
So what I'm gonna do is create a quick save in case I screw it up. So yeah, that's and that's the most important thing. Like I got me a ship down on the Mun, and that's like one of the it is a moment in this game. It feels incredible when all of your collective failures and all the things you learn just go, I figured it out. I put a thing gently down on a rock 10 million meters away from the planet. And it's a lot of fun. Let's see. Go back to the tracking, the Space Center. Thanks, Brian. And I'll show you some of the missions that I have. Are you gonna say something?
No, just laughing at Brian's. Proud of you.
Missions.
Proud mom right here.
So, here's another one. Rescue Statry from the orbit of the Mun. So, let's go look at it now. Right now, the only things orbiting the Mun are this satellite that I've already repaired. It's titled damaged. I don't know why it's titled that, because this radio is the thing that I flew up there and repaired. So I don't know why it's saying that it's still damaged.
Repeatedly going to break parts just to make new missions for you to keep getting going up there. I
think it's just the title. It's just called the damaged thing. So there's that one with this yellow orbit. There's Isang, which is this yellow orbit, and then there's me landed, but you'll see how there's that Statry one is not here.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go back and accept that mission, it'll add it as another thing. And this is what I was telling you about earlier. So right now I have 124,000 funds. They're going to advance me about 60,000 before I take the first step towards completing it. They're just going to give me 60 grand as a thank you for even taking this on. If I complete it, I get not only 133,000 funds, I get 12 reputation. Right now, I am at about 29. No, what did it say? There's a way to read it. If I go to load, my rep is at 32%. So, and like I told you, it takes a long time to build rep.
So it's not something you want to...
Not something I want to screw up, because I will lose 58 grand, and basically they will collect their advance back from me and take 12% away from my rep, which is devastating. It's not exactly, and I don't know what the completion means. I guess that means, like, I get 58,500 right now. As soon as I pick up Statry, I will get another 14,000. And then I have to get back with him to get the full 133. So in total, I stand to make 133 plus 58.5 plus 14.8 and 17 reputation, which is a lot. So I will be taking that on. And then
that's what he's going to be doing tonight?
Let's see how wild Statry's orbit is. Because some of them are super low, some of them are super high, some of them are like off axis. Okay, cool. He is in a pretty easy axis, and he's pretty low. That's 12-3, 12-4. Yeah. I might actually be able to do both of these on the same trip.
I was going to say, yeah.
If I can get close to one, I'm already basically on top of the other one. So I could stand to make quite a bit of money, quite a bit of funds. Let's see what are those worth? My active ones are, I saying, yeah. So 184 and 17 with 18, and then Statry is 133 and 14 with 17. So I could potentially make 30. What was that? 35 more reputation, basically doubling my reputation right now.
But didn't you say you don't really know what reputation does?
I have no idea what it does. I have absolutely no idea what it does. And for some reason, Icing is a 3-star mission. That is crazy. So I stand to make a lot of money and a lot of rep. So I'm gonna give it the old college try. But I gotta get who's up there? Somebody's up there.
Mossad?
Murad.
Murad. I was off.
I can't go anywhere without Murad.
He's your science boy.
Don't want to leave Murad stranded on the Mun. So, yeah, that is it. I mean, this is now quite a predicament I have put myself in, because do I want to abandon this save and go back to an old checkpoint and basically sacrifice all this science and do it all again? Or do I want to leave it and figure out how to get Murad home? No. But that is a brief glimpse into Kerbal. I'm going to try. I'm going to give it an honest try to get Murad back. That is a brief glimpse into Kerbal Space Program. You can zoom way out. It gets really humbling how small I am on the surface of this planet.
For real.
So yeah, that's going to do it for us tonight. So would you like to take us out?
Sure. If you like what you see, then follow us free. You can go that one step further and hit the subscribe button. If you can follow us on Threads, Twitter, and Discord to see our schedule for what we're going to be playing throughout the week. And you can go to our website, carpetboredom.com, to get links to all that information, as well as check out our 2 podcasts, the Carpet Boredom Podcast and Help Me Understand, which is Clayton and Brandon talking about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Tomorrow is Wednesday. It's me and Clay back with Fae Farm, which just released recently on Nintendo Switch. So we're going to be checking that out. I'm very excited about it. It's farming and mystic fairies, my thing. So make sure you come back for that tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. But until then, have a good night.
Good night.